Hey everyone, this is Mike with 30A, and I have the special honor of being with award-winning author Cynthia Barnett, also a TEDx speaker, and you're something of an authority on a very particular topic, and that topic is water.
Fresh water,
Fresh
specifically,
water.
yes.
Yeah, and is it
Yes.
specifically in Florida, or is it fresh water in all over the states and world?
It started in Florida. So
Yeah.
my first book was Mirage, Florida and the Vanishing Water of the Eastern U.S.
Right.
And I got started because I was a journalist covering Florida, and every story started to seem to come back to water. And so that ended up being the topic of my first book. And that led to the second, and the second led to the third,
Sure.
which we can talk about. But now I report on water around the world. So in the second book and the third book, I did a lot of international reporting on solutions that are happening elsewhere.
Well, why this is all pertinent and interesting to us is there is a movement here in our own community called Safe Water for Walton, and we've included a link here in the caption. And Safe Water for Walton is bringing you here on July 25th, which is a Wednesday night,
That's right.
to speak to a rather large group. It's going to be held at the South Walton High School Auditorium, and you're going to be speaking not just about water in the state, but really specific issues, here in
Yes.
Walton County, and
Yes.
specific issues that are related to coastal environments.
Yes, that's right. And it'll really be the first time I've sort of brought together all the lessons of all three of my books. Often I'm asked to speak about one book or one topic, and this talk is really thinking about, what are the very best, most important, most aspirational lessons from the past and from all the reporting I've done on freshwater over the years. So there'll be plenty of Florida stories, but also some stories from Australia and Singapore and elsewhere to talk about what parts of the world are doing the best on some of these issues that we're facing in Florida.
Well, and I think that if there is an element that defines Florida, it is water. I mean, people certainly think of our beaches, but
Yes.
they may not be thinking about all of our underground springs and all of our freshwater springs.
That's right. Yes, I think of water as a bond. It's literally a chemical bond, right? But it's also the deepest bond I think we share definitely among Floridians. And that's right. People in Walton County and Miami-Dade County may be very different, but we're all kind of drawn here by the element of water.
Yeah.
And it's also, I think, what makes us prosperous as a state. It's what we love. It's our quality of life. It really is everything.
But there are some dangers being posed to our water sources, not just in the Gulf of Mexico, but to our springs, and we want to talk about that in a minute. But
Okay.
the reason all of this is important, guys, is because we are bringing Cynthia here to speak about these topics, but also to raise money.
Yes.
To raise money for Safe Water for Walton, but
Yes.
also for the high school, the
Yeah,
Environmental Club.
I think a big part of the answer to these problems is the next generation, and I think it's great that there is an environmental club at the high school here. That's not the case in all the high schools, so it's so powerful that you have that generation of young people already excited about these issues, and I'm very excited to be raising money on their behalf.
So the way that happens is you can buy a ticket in advance online right now at safewaterforwalton.org, and you can also buy advanced copies of the book, but you'll also have the books for sale at the event. And so there's going to be a pre-gathering and then a lecture. And I think anybody who knows Walton County knows that really more so than a lot of other places in Florida, we've got the Gulf of Mexico,
Right,
obviously.
right.
We've got coastal dune lakes, 15
So
coastal
special,
dunes, very
yeah.
rare national treasures. And we also have Choctawhatchee Bay right behind us, Choctawhatchee River,
Right.
I think it's the fourth largest river in Florida.
Right.
A huge, beautiful bay. But we also have hundreds of freshwater springs
Yes, that's
that
right.
visitors and
Yeah.
locals and tourists go to visit.
Right.
What are some of the biggest challenges, without digging too deep, no pun intended, what are
Yeah.
some of the biggest challenges facing our water sources right now in Florida and
Right,
elsewhere?
right. So the two big things here and around the world are quantity and quality. And the weird thing about Florida, you just mentioned all of these incredible resources. It doesn't seem that they could ever run out, right? There's water everywhere we look, and it's under our feet, and it's in the river, and it's in the bay, and it's in the springs, but we are using too much of it. We're over-tapping it. So quantity is one issue, and then quality is the other. And I think the thing people may not realize is how all of that water works together. So your bay and your underground springs and the river leading to that bay, every single wetland in the county and the coast are all connected in this profound way that we are also connected to. And everything we do has an impact on all of that. So every time we pump water from the ground to water our lawn, or anytime we put out fertilizer or pesticide and so on, it all comes back to us. It even comes back to us in the rain. It's all this, it's sort of a beautifully connected hydrological cycle, but when you add humans to it, it becomes a hydro-illogical cycle, and crazy things start to happen, like water can vanish in a wet place like Florida.
A lot of times, a lot of these issues are addressed through grassroots efforts. For example, Operation Medicine Cabinet started here recently to help keep pharmaceuticals from getting into our drinking supply.
Yeah.
What types of things at local, regional, or national level
Yeah.
are you seeing work? What's working elsewhere?
I think that is a really crucial question. So when you look at the crisis underway in Florida with Lake Okeechobee, there's a lot of blame. One group blames the federal government, one group blames the state government. I would say the places that are solving these problems are places that have this connection between federal, state, and intensely local interest. And the Chesapeake Bay is a good example of that, an incredible turnaround story. And there are, the nice thing about water is that there are turnaround stories all over the country, all over the world. When you think about, industrial rivers used to catch fire in the American Northeast, and, all the terrible pollution in Florida's bays in the early 70s, raw sewage used to run directly into these bays. We've turned those things around, but I would say in every case of a big success, it took the federal government and the state government and intense local interest, and not just environmentalists per se, but this is a community-wide, essential interest that requires businesses, young people like the people in the Environmental Club, groups like Safe Water for Walton. It really is a matter of us working together.
So I think
Yeah.
not all of us have access to the lobbyist groups. Not all,
No,
all
right.
of us have access to the senators, but we all have access to local volunteer groups. Safe Water for
Yeah.
Walton being one,
Yeah.
Operation Medicine Cabinet being another. So get involved.
Yes,
ultimately.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Water needs us to be involved.
Well, literally, she has written the book on the subject. Cynthia Barnett has written Mirage, also Blue Revolution, Unmaking America's Water Crisis, and her latest book called Rain, A Natural and Cultural History. So she is going to be here with Safe Water for Walton. You can buy tickets now. It's going to be on July 25th at South Walton High School Auditorium, and there's going to be lots of Q&A, lots of discussion, and a book signing, and it's going to raise money not only for Safe Water for Walton, but also for the environmental team at our South Walton High School.
Yeah.
So super, super cool, and there's links here so you can get plenty of more information. And Cynthia, thank you for
Thank you.
for coming up here and spending time with us.
Thank
We're
you.
excited to have
It's
you.
so nice to be here. You definitely have, some of the most amazing water resources in Florida. So I'm thrilled to be here.
And we
Thanks.
got to fight to keep it that way.
That's
Thank you,
right.
guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you.